In 1992 Hollywood lost its iconic Rifleman, but Chuck Connors left behind more than a television show. From his behind-the-scenes Cold War diplomatic work to explosive romances that almost destroyed his career, Connors had lived as exciting a life as any Western, and now, over 30 years later, the truth finally out about how a Brooklyn ballplayer became a Soviet hero, why his 3 marriages were scandalous, and what dark secret he took to his grave. Chuck Connors was born Kevin Joseph Aloysius Connors on April 10, 1921, in Brooklyn, New York. His parents, Marcella and Alan Connors, were Irish immigrants who struggled to provide for their family during the lean years of the Great Depression. His father was a longshoreman, and his mother found odd jobs whenever she could just to get by. Life in Brooklyn wasn't easy, yet it instilled in young Chuck the importance of perseverance, hard work, and determination. Raised in a blue-collar community, Chuck spent most of his time at the Bay Ridge Boys Club, where he became enamored with sports. Baseball was first on his list, and he fantasized about one day wearing the uniform of the Brooklyn Dodgers. His sporting ability was evident at a young age, and at age 14, his life was forever changed as scouts spotted him. He was offered an athletic scholarship to Adelphi Academy, a Brooklyn private high school, a great opportunity for a kid from his background. At Adelphi, he was an outstanding student at many sports, baseball, basketball, football, and track, becoming known soon as one of the city's most talented athletes. In 1939, he was selected as one of Brooklyn's best high school baseball players, solidifying his status as a rising star. If this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel Spark Science, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started. Following his graduation, over 25 colleges issued scholarship offers, but Chuck opted for the Seton Hall University in New Jersey, where he played baseball and basketball. As a backup center on the basketball team, he employed his height and defensive skills to support the team. But it was baseball in which his innate abilities sparkled the most. In a game in 1942 that he would never forget, he struck 2 home runs and produced 6 RBIs, earning himself praise from professional scouts. He also acquired at this time the nickname he would carry for the rest of his life. On the field, playing first base, he had a tendency to yell, "Chuck it to me," to his teammates, and soon it was just, Chuck, to everyone. His time at college was abbreviated by World War II. Connors joined the U.S. Army in 1942 and attended training at Fort Knox. With his large 6'5" frame and athletic ability, he was assigned to be an instructor of tank warfare. Later on, he also worked in West Point, training soldiers and even educating future national champions on football tactics. Chuck never strayed far from sports despite his military duties. At leisure times, he played semi-professional baseball in Brooklyn and also played in the American Basketball League. He was discharged 3 years later on honorable terms in 1946, ready to pursue his sporting ambitions once again. That same year, Connors joined the Boston Celtics during their inaugural NBA season, becoming one of the first professional basketball players in league history. Standing tall as a forward and center, he appeared in 49 games and averaged 4.5 points per match. His best performance came on December 13, 1946, when he scored 15 points in a hard-fought win against the Providence Steamrollers. But his basketball career was short-lived. By February of 1947, Connors departed the Celtics for baseball, a sport dearest to his heart. His breakthrough occurred on May 1, 1949, when he finally got to the majors with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Sadly, it was a rough beginning. He grounded into a double, and his one game was lost. Most would have quit, but not Chuck. He continued to work in the minor leagues, with teams such as the Montreal Royals, and in 1951, his perseverance finally paid off as he returned to the majors with the Chicago Cubs. He played 66 games, hit 2 classic home runs against the New York Giants, and recorded a respectable .239 batting average. Although he would never be a baseball legend, Connors had established himself as a top-level competitor. Fate was not to be denied. In 1952, playing minor league baseball for the Los Angeles Angels, Connors smashed a huge home run that sailed out of the stadium and caught the attention of Billy Gordon, an MGM casting director. Gordon couldn't help but notice Connors' tough good looks and imposing figure. After a game, he sought out Connors in the locker room and urged him to pursue acting. Chuck initially laughed the idea off, but when an injury benched him several weeks later, he decided to take a stab at Hollywood. To his astonishment, MGM instantly invited him for a screen test, and only 3 days later did he sign his first movie contract, forever altering the course of his life. His debut role came in Pat and Mike, a romantic comedy starring Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Connors played a police captain, a minor part, but his excitement was palpable. Nervous on his first day, he prepared diligently, and when the cameras rolled, he delivered in just 2 takes. Spencer Tracy himself pulled him aside and said, "You've got something, stick with it." Those words gave Connors the confidence to pursue acting seriously. In the following 6 years, he worked in over 20 movies, slowly establishing himself. His best role was in Disney's Old Yeller, 1957, where he played Bern Sanderson. The huge success of the movie provided Connors with widespread fame. He shared screen space with Hollywood legends such as John Wayne in Trouble Along the Way and Gregory Peck and Charlton Heston in The Big Country. By 1958, Connors had accumulated more than 1,400 minutes of screen time in both movies and television, making him a jack-of-all-trades actor. But his life was about to be altered forever when he was cast as Lucas McCain in The Rifleman. The producers were so impressed with the way he had done his work on Old Yeller that they thought he was ideal for the role. Connors initially turned down the offer because it was below what he was making on the film circuit, but when they were willing to pay him more and even give him a 5% interest in the series, he accepted. He dove into rehearsals to get into character, working intensely with firearms expert Rod Redwing to master the now famous rifle spinning technique that was the show's calling card. When The Rifleman first appeared on television screens on September 30, 1958, it was an instant hit with 14 million viewers. The character of Lucas McCain, tough yet compassionate, with his son Mark, played by Johnny Crawford, touched the audience so deeply. It was one of the biggest breakthroughs in portrayals of family bonds at that time, and hundreds of single fathers thanked him through their letters. The program's unique altered Winchester rifle, which could be fired rapidly due to a special screw in the trigger, became the stuff of legend. The flashy twirls and rapid-fire shots delighted viewers and solidified Connors' reputation as a Western hero. The Rifleman reached new ratings heights, creating merchandise ranging from toy rifles to comic books that sold millions. It received Emmy nominations and continued to be popular long after it ended its 9-year run in 1963. But success was followed by difficulties. Connors became so identified with Lucas McCain that Hollywood typecasted him as a cowboy. He refused to be so confined and turned down many Western films, which briefly halted his career. He tried out new roles, such as playing a banker in the comedy Move Over, Darling, 1964, and a defense lawyer in the courtroom drama Arrest and Trial, 1963-64. While the critics lauded his versatility, audiences could not help but view him as anything but Lucas McCain. However, he was again successful with Branded, 1965-66, playing Jason McCord, a cavalry officer who is disgraced and tries to redeem his honor. In 1977, Connors amazed viewers by appearing in his darkest role to date, Tom Moore, a sadistic plantation owner in the award-winning miniseries Roots. His chilling turn earned him an Emmy nomination and shut up critics who were unsure if he had range. He went on to appear in cult favorites such as Tourist Trap, 1979, and guest star in such popular series as Fantasy Island and Murder, She Wrote, demonstrating his durability in Hollywood. Connors' private life was not so serene. He got married 3 times and each marriage ended in heartbreak. His initial marriage to Elizabeth Jane Riddell gave him 4 sons, but gossip about adultery and extensive filming separations resulted in divorce in 1962. His second marriage to Indian star Kamala Devi was one of Hollywood's few interracial marriages at the time but was cut short after 9 years by differences in career goals and ongoing rumors of extramarital affairs. His third and most scandalous marriage was to actress Faith Quabius, who was 33 years his junior. They married in 1977 and divorced 3 years later after Faith accused him of abuse, charges Connors vehemently denied. Affairs and scandals tailed him his whole life, hurting his reputation even as his career flourished. Politically, Connors was not afraid to buck Hollywood's conventions. An ardent conservative, he publicly endorsed the Vietnam War and Republican presidential candidates like Barry Goldwater.